Audiobooks Tube is glad to produce, publish, and offer. Conquer Fear: Gnostic Secrets to Crush Limiting Beliefs and Rule Your World. By Sage D. Esotreasure. In exploring the nature of fear, we delve into one of the most powerful forces that shape the human experience. Fear often paralyzes us, clouds our judgment, and restricts our potential. However, ancient mystical traditions, such as those from Gnostic, Rosicrucian, and Hermetic teachings, reveal a different perspective on fear. They teach us that fear is not merely an adversary to overcome but a profound guide, a veiled instructor leading us toward deeper self-awareness and spiritual transformation. These traditions share a common belief that fear is rooted in ignorance, particularly the ignorance of our true, divine nature. The Gnostics, for instance, interpret fear as a result of the illusion of separation from the divine. This separation is perpetuated by what they call the demiurge, a false power that rules the material world and seeks to keep humanity ignorant of its divine origins. In Gnostic cosmology, the demiurge thrives on fear, using it to keep individuals disconnected from the greater reality of the cosmos. This fear becomes a mechanism of control, preventing us from recognizing the divine spark that resides within us all. Fear, in this light, is an illusion, a veil obscuring the truth of who we are. This concept is central to many mystical schools, including the Rosicrucians and Hermeticists, who view fear as raw material, what alchemists refer to as prima materia, which can be transmuted into higher states of consciousness. Just as an alchemist seeks to turn base metals into gold, the spiritual seeker transforms fear into courage and wisdom. The process of confronting fear is not merely a psychological exercise, it is a spiritual journey that involves engaging with the unseen dimensions of existence. The teachings of these esoteric traditions propose that fear, when understood properly, serves as a gateway to enlightenment. Rather than something to avoid or suppress, fear becomes a critical element in the process of spiritual evolution. It is in the confrontation of our fears that we unlock the potential for personal growth, self-mastery, and ultimately, liberation from the limitations that hold us back. Fear, in its truest form, offers the key to our empowerment. To unmask the true nature of fear, we must engage with the ancient wisdom of the Gnostics, Rosicrucians, and Hermeticists. These mystical schools provide us with tools for transmuting fear into spiritual power, tools such as meditation, visualization exercises, and rituals that help us access the deeper realms of consciousness. Through these practices, we can dissolve the limiting beliefs that sustain our fears and learn to harness their energy for our spiritual journey. One of the most important teachings from these traditions is that fear is not a sign of weakness but a reflection of ignorance of our divine nature, the interconnectedness of all things, and the cosmic order that governs the universe. As long as we believe in the illusion of separation, we remain subject to fear and all the suffering it brings. But by awakening to the knowledge of who we truly are, divine beings with the capacity to shape our reality, we can dissolve these fears and reclaim the power they once held over us. This journey of transformation is not easy. It requires courage, discipline, and the willingness to face the shadow aspects of ourselves, those parts of us that we often avoid or suppress. But it is through this confrontation with the shadow, with our deepest fears, that we can achieve true freedom. As the ancient mystics understood, fear serves as a powerful teacher, guiding us toward the realization of our own divinity. The path of fear transmutation is one of both philosophy and practice. Each step on this path brings us closer to a deeper understanding of fear's role in our spiritual journey. It is a path that demands active engagement, asking us not only to reflect on the nature of fear but to actively work with it, using the esoteric tools passed down through generations of mystics and sages. In Gnostic teachings, the concept of gnosis, a Greek word meaning knowledge, is the key to conquering fear. However, this is not ordinary knowledge that one learns from books or teachers. Gnosis is an inner knowing, a direct, experiential realization of one's divine nature and connection to the cosmos. This sacred knowledge liberates the soul from the illusions of the material world, chief among them being fear. For the Gnostics, fear is not merely an emotional response to perceived threats but a profound misunderstanding of reality, a veil that obscures the soul's awareness of its divine origin. According to Gnostic philosophy, humanity has fallen into a state of ignorance because of its entanglement in the material realm. This material world, ruled by the demiurge, perpetuates the illusion of separation from the true divine source. The result of this separation is fear, a fear that keeps us bound to the material world, disconnected from the fullness of our divine potential. The Gnostic texts, such as the Gospel of Thomas and the Pistis Sophia, describe the demiurge as a tyrannical force that feeds off humanity's fear and suffering, maintaining its power by keeping souls in ignorance. To overcome fear, one must first recognize it as a tool of the demiurge, a reflection of the false belief that we are small, powerless beings subject to forces beyond our control. Fear, in this sense, is a product of ignorance. When we do not know who we truly are, we become vulnerable to external influences, people, circumstances, and even our own minds, because we lack the grounding in our inner truth. But the Gnostics taught that each soul contains within it a divine spark, a fragment of the ultimate source of all creation, which they referred to as the pleroma or fullness. The path to liberation is one of rediscovering this divine spark, awakening to the realization that we are not mere victims of fate but co-creators of our reality. The more we come to know ourselves and our connection to the divine, the more we dissolve the illusions that give rise to fear. Fear, then, is not an enemy to be defeated but an opportunity to reclaim our power. The mystical traditions of the Gnostics, Rosicrucians, and Hermeticists teach us that by confronting fear, we can transmute it into a higher state of awareness. Through spiritual practices, we learn to transform fear from a force of limitation into a source of empowerment. Ultimately, fear can serve as a profound catalyst for personal and spiritual transformation. It is a call to action, urging us to explore the deeper dimensions of our existence and to reconnect with the divine source that resides within us. By embracing the wisdom of the ancient mystics, we can learn to transmute our fears into spiritual power, awakening to the limitless potential that lies within us all. Fear, a constant companion in the human experience, often presents itself as a daunting barrier, limiting our potential and clouding our understanding. However, ancient teachings, such as those found in Gnostic and Rosicrucian traditions, offer an alternative view. Fear is not something to be avoided or suppressed, but a powerful force that can be transformed into spiritual growth. These traditions illuminate fear's true nature, showing that it stems from ignorance, particularly the ignorance of our divine self. As we awaken to the truth of our divine origin, fear dissolves, revealing the boundless potential within. In Gnostic thought, fear is deeply tied to the false self, the ego. This temporary, limited identity is the source of our fear, bound by the confines of the material world. In contrast, the true self, often referred to as the divine spark, is eternal and untouched by worldly concerns. Fear cannot exist in this state because the divine self operates beyond the limitations of the physical realm. To begin the process of awakening, or gnosis, esoteric knowledge, one must engage in self-inquiry, a practice of peeling away the layers of false beliefs imposed by the material world and its distractions. The process of self-inquiry is much like diving into the depths of the unconscious mind, where fear takes root in its most primal form. The Gnostics believe that fear is born from ignorance of the self, the universe, and the divine plan that governs all things. As we shine the light of awareness on these hidden fears, we begin to dissolve their power over us and reclaim our sovereignty. The journey begins with self-reflection. Asking yourself, what are my deepest fears? Where do they come from? Allows you to begin uncovering the underlying misconceptions about reality. Through this inquiry, you often realize that many fears are based on false beliefs and illusions, rather than actual threats. These illusions form chains that bind the soul to the material realm, preventing it from reaching its full potential. By dismantling these false beliefs, you can free yourself from the grip of fear and open the door to deeper understanding. The practice of self-inquiry is not a one-time exercise but an ongoing process of reflection and inner exploration. As you continue to question the nature of your fears and the beliefs that sustain them, you gradually recognize their illusory nature. You come to understand that these fears are not rooted in reality but are distortions of the ego's perception. Realizing this truth is the first step toward transcending fear. You come to see that fear, at its core, is a product of ignorance, and the only way to overcome it is through acquiring true knowledge, or gnosis. With each illusion you strip away, you move closer to the truth of who you are, a divine being with infinite power and potential. The external forces that once seemed to dominate your life lose their hold as you deepen your understanding of your divine nature. The demiurge, with all its false promises and illusions of control, loses power over you. As you awaken to your own divinity, fear's grip loosens, and the light of Gnosis illuminates your path towards spiritual freedom. This journey toward inner knowledge is a lifelong quest. With each step forward, fear loses its hold, and you move closer to a state of mastery over your reality. The path of spiritual evolution is challenging, but the rewards are profound: liberation from fear, mastery over your reality, and the realization of your divine nature. Through Gnosis, you reclaim the power to shape your destiny and conquer fear. In the Rosicrucian tradition, fear is viewed not as an adversary to be destroyed, but as a primal energy to be transformed. Fear, like the base metals in alchemical processes, represents the raw, chaotic material from which spiritual gold can be forged. Ancient alchemists sought to turn lead into gold, a process that served as a metaphor for inner transformation. Similarly, Rosicrucians believe that fear, when approached with the proper knowledge and intention, can be transmuted into wisdom, courage, and divine power. The alchemical process begins with identifying prima materia, the raw, unrefined substance that undergoes purification. In the Rosicrucian view, fear is the prima materia of the soul, a dense energy that weighs down the spirit and binds it to the material world. However, within this darkness lies the potential for immense spiritual growth. When understood correctly, fear contains the seeds of enlightenment. Confronting and working with fear is essential to achieving the highest levels of spiritual transformation. Just as the alchemist must endure the heat of the furnace to produce gold, the spiritual seeker must face their fears to achieve enlightenment. The alchemical process of inner transformation involves several stages. The first stage, Nigredo or blackening, corresponds to the initial confrontation with fear. In this stage, one descends into the depths of the unconscious, where fear resides in its most primal form. This phase is marked by inner darkness, as the individual faces their deepest fears and insecurities. In Rosicrucian symbolism, this stage represents death, the death of the ego and the dissolution of old patterns of thought and behavior rooted in fear. While this process can be painful and disorienting, it is a necessary step towards spiritual rebirth. The second stage, albedo or whitening, represents purification and illumination. After confronting and dissolving the fears that bind the soul, the individual experiences a sense of clarity and inner light. At this stage, fear is no longer seen as an enemy but as a teacher. The soul begins to understand that fear was never a sign of weakness or failure but a gateway to deeper wisdom and strength. The alchemical axiom solve et coagula, meaning dissolve and coagulate, reflects this process. Fear, once dissolved through self-reflection and inquiry, gives way to a new understanding of reality and a deeper connection to the divine. The Rosicrucian tradition, much like Gnosticism, teaches that fear is rooted in ignorance and separation. By confronting fear, one can dissolve the illusions that keep the soul bound to the material world. Through spiritual practices such as meditation, visualization, and rituals, the seeker learns to transmute fear into a source of strength and wisdom. This process of transformation is ongoing, requiring the seeker to continually work with their fears and refine their understanding of reality. In both Gnostic and Rosicrucian teachings, fear is not seen as a simple obstacle to be removed, but as a critical element in spiritual evolution. By transforming fear into higher states of awareness, the seeker moves closer to realizing their divine nature. The journey may be challenging, but it offers the ultimate reward: liberation from fear and the awakening of the soul's full potential. Fear, often seen as a daunting and crippling force, can instead be a powerful catalyst for growth when viewed through the lens of spiritual traditions such as Gnosticism and Rosicrucianism. These ancient teachings suggest that fear is not merely an obstacle to be vanquished, but a potent force that can be transmuted into courage, wisdom, and spiritual mastery. Through specific meditative and alchemical practices, fear is transformed from a heavy, burdensome energy into something that fuels spiritual evolution, much like the alchemical process of turning base metals into gold. In the esoteric teachings of the Rosicrucians, the journey of transformation begins with identifying fear as a form of prima materia, the raw material of the soul that needs purification and refinement. Fear is seen as a dense, heavy force that weighs down the soul, keeping it tethered to the material world. However, within this darkness lies the potential for immense spiritual growth. This primal fear, when approached with wisdom and intent, can be alchemically transformed into spiritual gold. The alchemical process involves 3 key stages, each representing a different aspect of spiritual transmutation. The first stage, nigredo, or blackening, is the confrontation with fear in its rawest form. Here, one must descend into the darkest parts of the self, where fear resides in its most primal state. This stage is often painful and disorienting, as it requires the individual to face their deepest fears and insecurities. In Rosicrucian symbolism, this stage represents the death of the ego and the dissolution of old, fear-based thought patterns that no longer serve the soul's higher purpose. The second stage, albedo, or whitening, is the stage of purification and enlightenment. After confronting and dissolving fear, the soul begins to experience a newfound clarity and light. Fear, which once seemed like a menacing enemy, is now seen as a teacher, revealing hidden strengths and insights. It is in this stage that the soul understands fear as an integral part of the spiritual journey, something that, when properly addressed, can lead to deep wisdom and inner power. Finally, the third stage, rubedo, or reddening, represents the achievement of spiritual mastery. In this final phase, the individual has not only confronted fear but also integrated the lessons it provided. The soul, now refined and purified, embodies the qualities of the philosopher's stone, a symbol of the perfected self. Fear, which once held the soul captive, has been transformed into a source of strength, a reminder of the trials the soul has overcome on its journey towards spiritual mastery. To engage in this alchemical process, the Rosicrucians taught various spiritual practices, including meditation, visualization, and ritual. One particularly powerful practice involves visualizing fear as a lump of lead, a dense, heavy metal representing the unrefined aspects of the self. In meditation, the practitioner visualizes placing this lead into an alchemical furnace, where it is subjected to intense heat. As the lead melts, it changes color, first silver, then gold, symbolizing the transformation of fear into courage and wisdom. This visualization serves as a symbolic act of inner transmutation, helping the practitioner reframe their relationship with fear and recognize it as a stepping stone to growth, rather than an obstacle. This practice can be repeated whenever fear arises. By consciously engaging with the alchemical symbolism of transmutation, individuals shift their perception of fear, seeing it not as a threat but as an opportunity for spiritual advancement. In the Rosicrucian tradition, all obstacles, including fear, are seen as opportunities for growth and transformation. By working with fear in this way, practitioners participate in the ancient alchemical process of refining the soul, turning the lead of fear into the gold of spiritual wisdom and strength. Fear is not merely a challenge to be overcome, but a necessary component of the soul's evolution. The process of transmuting fear into higher states of awareness is a path to spiritual mastery. Just as the alchemist endures the heat of the furnace to produce gold, so too must the seeker endure the trials of fear to achieve enlightenment and personal empowerment. Through these alchemical practices, fear becomes not something to be feared but embraced, a vital force that propels one toward their highest potential. While fear may be transformed through the alchemical process, limiting beliefs also play a significant role in the obstacles we face on our spiritual journey. Limiting beliefs, like fear, are unseen chains that bind the soul to a narrow and incomplete understanding of reality. In esoteric traditions like Gnosticism and Hermeticism, the mind is seen as the ultimate creative force, and belief is the tool through which reality is manifested. Limiting beliefs, therefore, act as distortions in the mind, preventing us from fully realizing our divine potential. In the Gnostic tradition, limiting beliefs are constructed by the ego, which is influenced by the demiurge, the false god governing the material realm. The demiurge implants false beliefs about the self, convincing the soul that it is weak, incomplete, and disconnected from the divine. These beliefs often form early in life, influenced by societal conditioning, trauma, and external authorities. Over time, these beliefs harden into fixed thought patterns, creating a distorted version of reality that limits the soul's potential. To break free from this mental prison, esoteric teachings advise a deep exploration of the subconscious, where these limiting beliefs reside. In the Hermetic tradition, the mind is viewed as a mirror of the cosmos, reflecting the individual's beliefs back into their reality. The Hermetic principle of mentalism, one of the 7 Hermetic laws, teaches that the all is mind, and that reality itself is a reflection of the thoughts and beliefs held in the mind. Limiting beliefs, therefore, are like cracks in the mirror of the mind, preventing the true reflection of the soul from being seen. The task of the spiritual seeker is to cleanse this mirror, removing the distortions caused by limiting beliefs and restoring the mind to its original clarity. This process, known as mental transmutation, involves consciously transforming negative thought patterns into positive, empowering ones. By engaging in this practice, we begin to dismantle the limiting beliefs that have kept us bound to a narrow reality, allowing the soul to expand and evolve. Ultimately, both fear and limiting beliefs are not obstacles to be avoided but essential elements of the soul's journey towards spiritual enlightenment. By confronting and transmuting these forces, we move closer to realizing our true divine nature, stepping into a state of mastery over our reality. Fear, often considered a barrier, holds transformative power in spiritual traditions like Gnosticism and Rosicrucianism. These esoteric teachings assert that fear, rather than being suppressed or avoided, can be transmuted into something far greater: wisdom, courage, and even spiritual mastery. By working with fear consciously, we can transform it from a burdensome force into the fuel for our spiritual evolution. This process, comparable to the alchemical transformation of base metals into gold, allows us to access the higher aspects of our consciousness and realize our divine potential. In Rosicrucian teachings, fear is viewed as a form of prima materia, the raw, unrefined substance of the soul that requires purification and transformation. Fear is a heavy, dense energy that weighs down the spirit, binding it to the material realm. However, within this darkness lies the potential for tremendous spiritual growth. Approaching fear with wisdom and intention, we can harness its energy to fuel our inner transformation, much like an alchemist turning lead into gold. The alchemical process involves 3 stages, each representing a different aspect of inner transformation. The first stage, nigredo, blackening, is where one must confront fear head-on. This phase involves descending into the deepest recesses of the unconscious mind, where fear resides in its most primal form. It is a time of inner darkness, where the individual faces their most profound fears and insecurities. This stage symbolizes the death of the ego and the dissolution of old, fear-based patterns of thought and behavior that no longer serve the soul's higher purpose. While this process may be painful, it is necessary for spiritual rebirth and growth. The second stage, albedo, whitening, represents purification and illumination. After confronting and dissolving fear, the soul begins to experience a new sense of clarity and light. Fear is no longer perceived as a destructive force but as a teacher, offering profound lessons about courage, wisdom, and strength. In this stage, the soul understands that fear was never a sign of weakness but an essential part of the journey toward higher consciousness. This stage of alchemical transformation allows the soul to recognize that fear is not an enemy but a guide on the path to spiritual growth. Finally, the third stage, rubedo, reddening, symbolizes the attainment of spiritual mastery. At this point, the individual has not only overcome fear but has integrated its lessons into their being. The soul, having undergone purification, emerges as the philosopher's stone, a symbol of the perfected self. Fear, which once held the individual captive, is now transformed into a source of strength and power. The soul has transmuted fear into wisdom, embodying the qualities of the philosopher's stone, which represents spiritual enlightenment and mastery. In the Rosicrucian tradition, fear is not merely an obstacle to be vanquished, but a necessary force for spiritual evolution. By consciously engaging with fear and transmuting its energy, we can transform our understanding of reality and step into a higher level of consciousness. The process of transforming fear into spiritual gold is central to Rosicrucian alchemical practices. One of the most powerful spiritual practices for transforming fear is meditation. Through meditation, individuals can visualize their fears as a lump of lead, a dense, heavy metal representing the unrefined aspects of the self. In this practice, the practitioner imagines placing this lead into an alchemical furnace, where it is exposed to intense heat. As the lead melts, it changes color, first silver, then gold, symbolizing the transformation of fear into courage and wisdom. This visualization serves as a symbolic act of inner transformation, helping individuals reframe their relationship with fear and view it as an opportunity for growth rather than a hindrance. This practice of visualization can be repeated whenever fear arises. By engaging with the alchemical symbolism of transmutation, practitioners can shift their perception of fear, seeing it not as a threat but as a valuable part of the spiritual journey. In Rosicrucian teachings, all obstacles, including fear, are viewed as opportunities for growth and transformation. By working with fear in this way, individuals participate in the ancient alchemical process of refining the soul, turning the lead of their fears into the gold of spiritual wisdom and strength. Fear becomes, then, not something to resist but a necessary force that propels the soul towards spiritual mastery. The trials of fear are akin to the heat of the alchemical furnace, necessary for purification and transformation. Through the process of working with fear, we move closer to our highest potential and begin to embody the qualities of the divine alchemist within. Alongside fear, limiting beliefs also play a significant role in holding back spiritual progress. Limiting beliefs are like invisible chains that bind the soul to a narrow understanding of reality. In esoteric traditions like Gnosticism and Hermeticism, the mind is seen as a powerful creative force, and belief is the tool through which reality is shaped. Limiting beliefs act as distortions in the mind, preventing the soul from fully realizing its divine nature. In Gnostic teachings, limiting beliefs are created by the ego, which is influenced by the demiurge, the false god who governs the material world. The demiurge implants false beliefs about the self, convincing the soul that it is weak, incomplete, and disconnected from the divine. These limiting beliefs are often formed early in life, shaped by societal conditioning, trauma, and external authority figures. Over time, they harden into fixed patterns, creating a distorted reality that keeps the soul from realizing its true potential. To break free from these mental chains, esoteric teachings advise a process of conscious deconstruction. This involves exploring the subconscious mind, where limiting beliefs reside, and bringing them into conscious awareness. In the Hermetic tradition, the mind is seen as a mirror of the cosmos. The Hermetic principle of mentalism teaches that the all is mind, and that reality itself is a reflection of the thoughts and beliefs held in the mind. Limiting beliefs, therefore, are like cracks in the mirror of the mind, distorting the reflection of the soul. The goal of the spiritual seeker is to cleanse this mirror, removing the distortions caused by limiting beliefs and restoring the mind to its original clarity. This process is known as mental transmutation, the conscious transformation of negative thought patterns into positive, empowering ones. Through mental transmutation, we begin to dismantle the limiting beliefs that have kept us bound to a narrow reality and allow the soul to expand into its full potential. Just as fear can be transmuted into wisdom and courage, limiting beliefs can be transformed into stepping stones for spiritual growth. Both fear and limiting beliefs are not obstacles to be feared but essential components of the soul's journey toward enlightenment. By working with these forces, we can move closer to realizing our divine nature and achieving mastery over our reality. In essence, fear and limiting beliefs are catalysts for personal and spiritual transformation. They challenge us to look deeper within ourselves, confront our shadows, and transmute our inner obstacles into sources of strength and wisdom. By embracing the alchemical process of transformation, we can rise above our limitations and step into the fullness of our spiritual potential. In the realm of spiritual traditions such as Gnosticism and Rosicrucianism, fear and limiting beliefs are seen as profound forces that can either imprison or liberate the soul. The teachings guide us not to avoid or suppress these forces but to engage with them, seeing fear as a key to unlocking higher wisdom and limiting beliefs as obstacles that conceal deeper truths. The journey involves transforming these inner forces, similar to how an alchemist transmutes lead into gold, symbolizing the refinement of the soul through personal and spiritual development. Rosicrucians see fear as part of the prima materia, the raw substance that must undergo transformation. Fear, in its unrefined state, weighs heavily on the soul, limiting its potential and binding it to the material realm. However, this dense energy holds within it the possibility for significant growth. By consciously engaging with fear, we can unlock the energy it contains, turning what was once an obstacle into a vital force for spiritual advancement. This process mirrors the alchemical transformation where base elements are purified into higher forms. The alchemical process unfolds in 3 stages, each representing a different aspect of the soul's evolution. The first stage, known as nigredo, or blackening, is where one must face fear in its darkest and most overwhelming form. In this stage, the individual enters the depths of their unconscious mind, where fear manifests as unresolved anxieties and traumas. It's a period of inner darkness, symbolizing the death of the ego and the dissolution of fear-based habits that hold the soul back. This phase, though challenging, is necessary to strip away the illusions of fear. After confronting the darkness of fear, the soul enters the second stage, albedo, whitening. Here, purification begins, and a new clarity emerges. Fear is no longer viewed as a destructive force but as a teacher. The soul gains insight, recognizing fear's lessons and learning to embrace courage and strength. In this stage, fear is no longer a sign of weakness but an integral part of spiritual growth, guiding the soul toward higher awareness. The final stage, rubedo, reddening, symbolizes the attainment of spiritual mastery. In this phase, the individual has fully transmuted fear into a source of strength and wisdom. The soul, now refined and enlightened, embodies the philosopher's stone, representing spiritual perfection and realization. Fear, which once seemed like a barrier, has been transformed into the very force that propels the individual towards spiritual fulfillment. Through this alchemical process, fear is no longer something to avoid but an essential aspect of personal growth. The Rosicrucian tradition teaches that by transmuting fear, we move closer to our divine potential, integrating higher wisdom into our lives. A powerful method for this transformation is meditation. Through the practice of visualization, individuals can transform their relationship with fear. One common exercise involves imagining fear as a lump of lead in one's hands, representing the unrefined and heavy aspects of the self. The lead is then placed into a furnace of radiant heat, symbolizing the purification process. As the lead melts and changes from silver to gold, it reflects the transformation of fear into courage and insight. This simple yet profound practice helps individuals see fear not as an enemy but as a stepping stone toward greater strength and awareness. This visualization practice can be revisited whenever fear arises. By continually engaging in the symbolic transformation of fear, individuals begin to shift their internal perspective, understanding that fear offers an opportunity for inner growth. According to Rosicrucian teachings, obstacles like fear are necessary for spiritual evolution. Working with fear allows the soul to refine itself, turning the lead of its worries into the gold of spiritual strength. Like fear, limiting beliefs are another force that binds the soul to a limited reality. These beliefs, often subconscious, act as invisible barriers that prevent the soul from realizing its divine potential. In Gnostic and Hermetic traditions, the mind is seen as the ultimate creative force, and beliefs shape the reality we experience. Limiting beliefs, however, distort this reality, blocking the soul from its higher truths. Limiting beliefs often arise from the ego, which is influenced by the demiurge in Gnostic cosmology. The demiurge, a false god, governs the material world and implants beliefs that keep the soul trapped in ignorance and separation. These beliefs are usually formed early in life through societal conditioning or traumatic experiences and harden into fixed patterns that shape one's perception of reality. To break free from these limiting beliefs, one must bring them into conscious awareness. Journaling is a powerful tool for uncovering these subconscious patterns. By writing down thoughts and feelings related to areas where one feels blocked, limiting beliefs can be identified and questioned. Once a belief is recognized, the next step is to challenge its validity. Often, these beliefs have no basis in truth. They are illusions implanted by external influences or past experiences. The process of challenging and replacing limiting beliefs is central to mental transmutation, a key concept in Hermeticism. Just as the alchemist turns lead into gold, the initiate must transform negative beliefs into empowering ones. For example, a belief like "I'm not good enough" can be replaced with "I am a reflection of the divine and worthy of success." Through repeated affirmations and aligned actions, the new belief begins to take root, gradually overriding the old, limiting belief. In the Hermetic tradition, beliefs are the building blocks of reality. The tree of life in Kabbalistic thought represents the interconnectedness of existence, from the material realm to the divine. Limiting beliefs act as blockages in this flow, preventing the soul from accessing higher wisdom. By clearing these blockages, individuals allow divine energy to flow freely, manifesting a higher reality in alignment with their true nature. Overcoming limiting beliefs is not a one-time event but an ongoing practice. As new beliefs are constantly formed, it is important to remain vigilant and continuously question those that do not align with one's highest self. Through this practice, individuals become conscious creators of their reality, no longer bound by the invisible chains of the subconscious mind. Both fear and limiting beliefs are seen not as enemies but as opportunities for growth in these spiritual traditions. They challenge us to look deeper within ourselves, confront our shadows, and transmute inner obstacles into sources of strength and wisdom. By embracing the alchemical process of transformation, we can rise above our limitations, step into our divine potential, and shape our reality with conscious intent. In the esoteric and spiritual traditions of Gnosticism and Hermeticism, the soul's journey is often described as one of overcoming the limitations imposed by the material world and the external forces that seek to bind it. Central to this struggle is the demiurge, a figure symbolizing external authority, fear, and ignorance. The demiurge, who creates the physical world and ensnares souls within it, represents not just an external antagonist, but also the internalized forces of fear and limiting beliefs that restrict our awareness of our divine nature. Fear only gains control over the soul when we mistakenly identify ourselves with the physical body, material circumstances, and societal structures. The key to overcoming this fear and transcending the demiurge lies in the Gnostic concept of gnosis. Gnosis isn't just intellectual understanding, but a deep, personal realization of one's connection to the divine. It is through this profound inner knowing that one can recognize that the self is not limited to the physical form or conditioned thoughts, but is a divine spark, a part of the infinite source of creation. This realization reveals that the demiurge, despite his dominion over the material world, has no real power over the soul's divine essence. Overcoming fear doesn't involve battling external forces or the world itself. Rather, it's about awakening to the divine light within and recognizing that these external limitations are illusions. Once the soul understands its true, divine nature, the illusions created by the demiurge, including fear and control, begin to dissolve. One potent method for reclaiming sovereignty from the demiurge is through ritual. In Gnostic practice, rituals are not merely symbolic gestures but acts of spiritual power and self-reclamation. A ritual designed to overcome the demiurge's influence could involve invoking higher spiritual entities such as the eons, divine beings in Gnostic cosmology, to sever the hold of fear and external control. Such a ritual might be as simple as lighting a candle in a dark room, symbolizing the light of Gnosis penetrating the darkness of ignorance. As the candle burns, one might speak words of intention, invoking the divine spark within to rise and shatter the chains of fear. This simple yet powerful act is a physical manifestation of the soul's intention to reclaim its mind, spirit, and life from the external forces that seek to control it. Through this ritual, the initiate is reminded that true power comes from within, not from external authorities. The Gnostic path doesn't advocate for a war against the material world or its rulers, but rather teaches that transcendence is the ultimate goal. The material world, with all its limitations and challenges, is a field for growth and learning. Recognizing the false nature of the demiurge's rule allows the soul to use the material world as a tool for spiritual transformation rather than a prison. Each limitation and fear encountered becomes an opportunity to strengthen one's connection to the divine, to remember that the soul is beyond the confines of the physical world. As you reflect on the concept of the demiurge in your life, consider the external forces that seem to exert power over you, whether societal expectations, financial pressures, or deeply ingrained beliefs about yourself. Ask yourself how much of this power is truly real and how much of it is an illusion created by your own subconscious mind. The process of reclaiming your power begins when you recognize that many of these external forces are not absolute, but are constructs of the mind. Fear, which once kept you bound, can become a guide. It shows you where illusions lie and where your soul seeks liberation. To assist in this process, you can perform a simple ritual to release the demiurge's hold on your mind and spirit. Start by creating a sacred space, free from distractions. Light a candle and focus on its flame, imagining it as the light of Gnosis within you. As you gaze into the flame, speak words like these: I call upon the divine spark within me. I release the illusions of fear, control, and limitation. I am sovereign over my mind, spirit, and destiny. The light of truth guides me, and the power of the demiurge holds no sway over me. As you speak these words, feel the chains of external control dissolving. Know that the authority over your life belongs to you and not to any external force. Overcoming the demiurge is ultimately about transcending the fear and limitations imposed by the material world. It is a reminder that true power comes from within, from the divine spark that resides in each of us. By engaging in these ancient rituals and reflecting on this wisdom, you can dissolve the illusions that keep you bound and reclaim your sovereignty. Another powerful force shaping our reality is the subconscious mind, which plays a significant role in our spiritual journey. In occult psychology, the subconscious mind is not simply a passive storehouse of memories and experiences, but a dynamic force that creates and shapes our reality. It contains deep-seated fears, desires, and beliefs that influence our actions and reactions without our conscious awareness. Fear, in this context, is often understood as a program ingrained deep within the subconscious. This program operates unseen, shaping our perceptions and decisions and reinforcing limiting beliefs. To overcome fear and free ourselves from these patterns, we must embark on a journey into the hidden terrain of the subconscious mind, confronting the shadows within and reprogramming these subconscious beliefs to reflect our true divine nature. In Hermeticism, the subconscious is seen as a mirror of the soul, reflecting both light and shadow. It holds the imprints of past experiences, traumas, and conditioning, and it is here that fear takes root, often unnoticed by the conscious mind. Fear stored in the subconscious subtly shapes our behavior, creating invisible barriers that limit our potential. The Rosicrucians also viewed the subconscious as a sacred space where alchemical transformation can take place. They believed that by bringing awareness to this hidden realm, the soul could transmute fear into wisdom and strength. This transformation allows the soul to access higher levels of consciousness and break free from the limitations imposed by fear and past conditioning. Modern psychology describes the subconscious as the repository of repressed memories and unresolved emotions. However, from an esoteric perspective, the subconscious is far more than just a storage system. It actively participates in creating our reality. Every thought, emotion, and belief held in the subconscious sends ripples through the energetic field, influencing not only our internal state but also the external circumstances we attract into our lives. In this way, fear becomes a powerful magnet, drawing to us experiences that reinforce our deepest anxieties. To break free from this cycle of fear, we must first become aware of the subconscious patterns influencing our lives. By bringing these fears and limiting beliefs into the light of conscious awareness, we can begin to dissolve them. This process of uncovering and transforming the subconscious mind is a central practice in occult psychology. It allows the individual to take control of their life, no longer subject to the invisible forces of fear and limitation. In conclusion, both the demiurge and the subconscious mind serve as metaphors for the external and internal forces that seek to control and limit the soul. Overcoming these forces requires deep inner work, or recognition of one's divine nature, and a commitment to transforming fear and limiting beliefs into tools for spiritual growth. Through rituals, conscious reflection, and the reprogramming of the subconscious, we can transcend these limitations and step into our true power as divine creators. In the realms of Gnosticism and Hermeticism, the journey to self-awareness involves transforming the subconscious and transcending fear. One of the essential tools used in the occult traditions for accessing and transforming the subconscious is visualization. When practiced with focus and intent, visualization acts as a bridge between the conscious and subconscious mind, allowing the practitioner to reprogram deeply ingrained fear-based patterns. Hermetic practitioners often employ visualization techniques to plant new, positive seeds of thought and emotion in the subconscious. In these practices, symbols of fear, such as a dark figure or shadow, are visualized and confronted with light and higher awareness. Through repeated visualization, the practitioner dissolves these fears and replaces them with symbols of strength and illumination. This process helps reclaim control over the mind by transforming fear into positive and empowering thought forms. Symbols and archetypes play a key role in working with the subconscious in occult psychology. Unlike rational thoughts, symbols communicate directly with the subconscious and can trigger deep transformations. They act as keys, unlocking hidden aspects of the psyche where fear resides. For example, in Hermeticism, the pentagram is a powerful symbol representing the mastery of spirit over matter. When used in rituals or meditations, visualizing the pentagram creates a psychic barrier that empowers the individual to confront and banish fear on an energetic level. Reprogramming the subconscious is not a single event, but an ongoing process of self-exploration and transformation. As you engage with these occult techniques, it's important to approach the subconscious mind with patience and compassion. Fear often acts as a protective mechanism, a way for the subconscious to shield us from perceived dangers. While these mechanisms may have once been essential for survival, they can become outdated, misaligned with our higher purpose, and prevent us from evolving spiritually. By consciously engaging with the subconscious, you can rewrite these outdated programs, replacing fear with love, doubt with faith, and limitation with a sense of infinite potential. To begin this journey, reflect on the moments in your life where fear takes hold, and trace these fears to their roots. Ask yourself where these fears originated. Were they formed through personal experiences, societal conditioning, or even ancestral patterns? Once you recognize the origins of your fears, visualize them as shadows cast upon the subconscious, lingering and waiting to be illuminated. Rather than resisting these fears, confront them with curiosity and understanding, knowing that they are merely projections of past limitations. As you engage with this inner process, imagine these fears as dark, formless entities. In your mind's eye, bring forth a radiant light from within your heart, expanding until it fills your entire being, pushing the shadows to the edges of your awareness. Watch as these shadows dissolve into the light, leaving behind clarity and stillness. Replace them with powerful symbols of strength and protection, perhaps a glowing pentagram, a radiant star, or a luminous rose, surrounding you with their protective energy. Through consistent practice, this reprogramming of the subconscious will become second nature. When fear or limiting beliefs arise, meet them with this inner light and transform their energy into something that serves your highest good. Over time, you will notice that fear loosens its grip, allowing you to move through life with greater freedom and power. The subconscious, once a source of hidden fear, becomes a wellspring of strength and wisdom, guiding you toward your true potential. By bringing awareness into the depths of your subconscious, you embark on a profound journey of self-mastery. Not only are you confronting the shadows of fear, but you are also transforming them into catalysts for spiritual evolution. In this way, the subconscious mind becomes a sacred space, a temple of transformation where fear is no longer an obstacle but a gateway to greater understanding. Each shadow you encounter holds the potential for alchemical change, waiting to be transmuted into the gold of your higher self. This continuous process deepens your connection to your divine nature and helps you realize that you are not bound by fear or the illusions of the material world. Among the many fears that humanity faces, the fear of death stands as one of the most significant. For many, death is the ultimate mystery, a final threshold that creates immense anxiety. However, from a Gnostic perspective, the fear of death is not seen as a natural response to the unknown, but as an illusion born from ignorance. Gnostic teachings suggest that the fear of death is a deep form of bondage to the material world, perpetuated by the demiurge, the false creator god. This figure seeks to keep souls trapped in the material realm through fear and deception. According to Gnostic wisdom, transcending the fear of death is integral to transcending the limitations of the physical world and awakening to the eternal divine spark within. Gnosticism teaches that death is not an end, but a transition, a passage from one state of existence to another. Life in the material world is viewed as a temporary sojourn, a period of spiritual exile from the pleroma, the realm of pure light and divine consciousness. From this perspective, the fear of death arises from a misunderstanding of our true nature. Rather than marking a final cessation, death is seen as a return to the source, a shedding of the physical body, and a reunion of the soul with its divine origin. To fear death, then, is to fear one's liberation from the material world's constraints. Both Gnosticism and Rosicrucianism emphasize the immortality of the soul. According to these teachings, the soul is a divine spark, an eternal essence that transcends time and space. While the physical body is bound to earth during one's lifetime, the soul remains untouched by the material world's limitations. Though the body may die, the soul continues its journey through the cosmos. Understanding this truth is key to overcoming the fear of death. The ignorance that leads to fear stems from our identification with the material self, the physical body, and the ego. When we awaken to our true nature as divine, eternal beings, the fear of death loses its hold. Death becomes not a threat but a natural and inevitable transition back to the source. If you're enjoying this audiobook and finding value in the content, we kindly ask you to take a moment to subscribe to the channel. A large portion of our listeners and viewers haven't subscribed yet, and by doing so, you'll help us grow and continue bringing you more high-quality audiobooks. Your support means a lot to us, and it's just one click away. So, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to stay connected and never miss out on our latest releases. This Gnostic view encourages a shift in perspective, allowing us to see death as an integral part of the soul's journey rather than a final, fearsome end. By embracing this understanding, we can transcend fear, live more freely, and recognize that the essence of who we are is eternal, beyond time, space, and the material world. The human experience is deeply intertwined with various fears, and among them, the fear of death reigns as one of the most profound. This fear permeates every level of our consciousness, influencing decisions and shaping our perceptions of life. However, within the mystical teachings of Gnosticism and Rosicrucianism, death is not something to be feared, but a vital transformation necessary for spiritual growth and evolution. These esoteric traditions offer a perspective that sees death not as an end, but as an essential transition, helping to dissolve our attachments to the physical world and open us up to the truth of our eternal nature. According to the Rosicrucians, death is a natural part of the soul's journey toward enlightenment. Much like the Gnostics, they view life in the material world as a preparation for the ultimate transition, death. This process is not seen as defeat or loss, but as a crucial step towards spiritual growth. In fact, death is viewed as a passage from one state of consciousness to another, mirroring the alchemical process of transformation in which base elements are transmuted into something higher and more refined. Similarly, in the spiritual sense, physical death is a shedding of the body and a rebirth of the soul into a higher state of existence. In these mystical traditions, the fear of death arises from a misunderstanding and over-identification with the physical body. When we see ourselves solely as physical beings, death becomes the ultimate annihilation, an end to everything we know. Gnostic teachings, however, argue that this identification with the body is a fundamental error. The physical body is merely a temporary vessel that houses the soul during its time in the material world. To overcome the fear of death, we must first transcend our attachment to the physical self. We must come to understand that the body is a tool or a vehicle, one that we will eventually leave behind as we continue our spiritual journey toward wholeness. This shift in perspective, seeing the body as temporary and the soul as eternal, is crucial for dissolving the fear of death. It allows us to embrace the impermanence of the physical form while recognizing the eternity of our true essence. A powerful practice for achieving this shift is meditation on the eternal nature of the soul. Through meditation, we focus on the inner light, the divine spark that resides within each of us. By turning inward and connecting with this light, we remind ourselves that we are not simply physical beings but eternal spiritual entities. As we meditate, the light of the soul fills our awareness, dissolving any fear of death and detaching us from our identification with the physical body. Over time, this practice helps us shift our consciousness from the material to the spiritual, allowing us to transcend the fear of death. To deepen this practice, one can visualize the moment of death not as an end, but as a liberation. Imagine standing at the threshold of death, not with fear, but with peace and readiness to leave behind the physical body. Visualize your soul shedding its material form and expanding into the infinite, surrounded by light and embraced by the divine presence. This visualization transforms death from a frightening event into a joyful return to the source of all life. Repeatedly visualizing this moment trains the mind to approach death with calm acceptance, replacing fear with peace. Confronting the fear of death in this way not only helps us come to terms with the inevitable end of physical life, but also awakens us to the truth of our eternal nature. Death, from this perspective, is not an ending but a return to the divine realms from which we came. By dissolving the fear of death, we simultaneously release our attachment to the material world and free ourselves from the limitations of the physical self. This is the ultimate liberation, the realization that we are infinite beings, forever connected to the divine source. As you move forward on your spiritual journey, remember that the fear of death is part of the greater illusion that binds us to the material realm. By confronting this fear, you take a significant step toward awakening to your true nature, understanding that you are not your body and that death is not the end but a transformation. Beyond the fear of death, another common fear is the fear of failure. In the realm of human experience, the fear of failure is often more paralyzing than failure itself. It clouds the mind with doubt, diminishes confidence, and shrinks the spirit into submission. Yet, from the perspective of esoteric traditions, failure is not something to be feared but embraced as part of the journey toward mastery. In these traditions, failure is seen as a necessary step in the process of spiritual growth and self-realization. Just as an alchemist must face the chaos of dissolution to transmute base elements into gold, so too must individuals confront failure in order to refine their soul and awaken to higher truths. Failure, in this context, represents a breaking down of false beliefs, outdated patterns, and illusory identities. It is the dissolution of what no longer serves the soul's growth. In this way, failure is an essential part of the path to wisdom and self-mastery. The fear of failure often arises from our attachment to old forms and our reluctance to step into the unknown. We cling to what is familiar and comfortable, even when it hinders our progress. However, true spiritual alchemists understand that failure is a signpost on the road to self-realization. It is an opportunity to release outdated patterns and create space for new, more aligned ways of being. When viewed through the lens of occult philosophy, failure is often tied to the fear of judgment, both from others and from ourselves. In the Rosicrucian tradition, it is taught that true success comes not from external validation but from inner alignment with higher principles. Failure, then, becomes a valuable teacher, revealing where we are out of harmony with divine order. Each failure offers a mirror, reflecting the areas of our life where we need to grow, transform, and realign with our soul's purpose. By overcoming the fear of failure, we open ourselves up to greater possibilities for growth and self-discovery. Failure is not an end, but a step toward mastery. It is an opportunity to dissolve the old and make way for the new. In this sense, failure, like death, becomes a necessary part of the soul's journey toward enlightenment and spiritual freedom. The experience of fear, particularly the fear of failure, is something that almost every human grapples with. In mystical traditions like those of the Rosicrucians, Hermeticists, and Gnostics, this fear is understood differently. Rather than being a paralyzing force that needs to be avoided, fear is seen as an essential part of spiritual growth, a necessary challenge that the soul must face on its journey to enlightenment. These traditions teach that the fear of failure is not about external results but is tied to deeper spiritual lessons. By embracing these lessons, we can move through fear and transform it into a source of wisdom, insight, and strength. The Rosicrucians encourage us to view failure as part of a greater cosmic cycle of growth. The soul's journey toward mastery is not a straight line but a spiral, filled with setbacks and challenges that strengthen and refine the individual. In this view, failure is not something to fear or avoid but a stepping stone on the path to greater understanding. Each failure is an opportunity for the soul to reflect on its journey and discover areas where greater balance, courage, or insight is needed. By embracing this perspective, we dissolve the ego's need for success and perfection, recognizing that true mastery comes from our ability to learn and grow from our experiences. From a Gnostic perspective, the material world is seen as an imperfect reflection of the spiritual realm. This means that the outcomes of worldly pursuits are often illusory and fleeting. The Gnostics teach that failure, in the material sense, is less important than the soul's inner state of being. What the ego perceives as failure may, in fact, be a lesson learned or a karmic cycle completed, leading the soul towards spiritual elevation. When we align ourselves with this higher perspective, we realize that what we fear as failure is often a necessary part of our growth. This shift in perception allows us to approach challenges with curiosity and openness rather than fear. One of the most powerful tools for overcoming the fear of failure is the Hermetic principle of cause and effect. This principle, one of the 7 universal laws outlined in the Kybalion, teaches that every action has a corresponding reaction. Success, in this framework, is the natural result of setting the right causes into motion. Failure, therefore, is not a final destination but an indication that we have not yet aligned ourselves with the appropriate causes to achieve the desired effect. This understanding empowers us to take responsibility for our reality, knowing that success is not about luck or external circumstances but the inevitable result of consistent, aligned action. When we fear failure, we give power to external forces and lose sight of our innate ability to shape our destiny. The principle of cause and effect helps us reclaim this power by showing us that failure is simply a signal of misalignment, not an insurmountable obstacle. This understanding encourages us to take action, knowing that every failure brings us closer to the right alignment of causes and effects that will lead to success. Practically speaking, overcoming the fear of failure requires cultivating 2 essential qualities: resilience and detachment. Resilience, in the esoteric sense, refers to the ability to remain centered and unwavering in the face of life's challenges. It is born from the knowledge that the soul is eternal and that all material experiences, whether labeled as success or failure, are transient. Detachment, on the other hand, involves releasing the ego's need for validation and approval. It allows us to act without being bound to the outcome, freeing us to pursue our highest potential without hesitation. Together, resilience and detachment form the foundation of true mastery. When we are no longer afraid of failure, we are free to take risks and explore our full potential. We understand that every step, whether it leads to success or failure, is part of the soul's sacred journey toward enlightenment. A practical exercise for cultivating this mindset is journaling based on the Hermetic law of cause and effect. Begin by reflecting on a recent failure or fear of failure, and write down the circumstances surrounding this event. Then, ask yourself, what causes did I set into motion? Were my actions, thoughts, or beliefs aligned with my desired outcome? Through this process of self-inquiry, you will begin to see the patterns that led to the perceived failure. Next, ask yourself, what new causes can I set into motion to create a different outcome? This exercise shifts your focus from the fear of failure to the empowerment of taking conscious action. By identifying the root causes of your experiences, you can begin to create new patterns of success that are aligned with your true purpose. Another powerful tool for dissolving the fear of failure is visualization. In esoteric traditions, visualization is a method of aligning the mind with higher realities. To practice this, begin by closing your eyes and visualizing a situation where you fear failure. Allow the fear to arise naturally. Then, as you breathe deeply, imagine yourself stepping through the fear as though it were a doorway. On the other side of this doorway, visualize yourself standing in a place of calm, confidence, and power. See yourself having moved through the failure, stronger and wiser for the experience. This visualization helps to reframe failure as a necessary step in the journey to success rather than an end point. By visualizing yourself on the other side of failure, you train your mind to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles to be feared. The fear of failure, when viewed through the lens of Gnosticism, Hermeticism, and Rosicrucianism, becomes an invitation to deeper spiritual growth. These traditions teach that failure is part of the alchemical process of transformation, the breaking down of the old to make way for the new. When we understand failure as an essential component of the soul's evolution, we no longer shrink from it in fear. Instead, we embrace it as a teacher, guiding us toward greater wisdom, resilience, and mastery. In addition to overcoming the fear of failure, the mystical traditions also emphasize the power of silence as a tool for conquering fear. Silence, in this context, is not merely the absence of sound but a profound, active force that can transform the self and dissolve fear. In the quiet of the mind, the soul finds its true strength, and fear loses its grip. The ancient mystics knew that silence is where the deeper truths of existence are revealed, and the noise of fear is stripped away. Rosicrucian teachings speak of the silence of the adept, a practice where one withdraws from the distractions of the outer world and enters a space of internal stillness. In this silence, the adept contemplates the inner mysteries of the soul, discovering that fear is a product of the restless mind and the ego's attachment to its identity. Through silence, the ego's hold weakens, and the practitioner experiences the presence of the divine within. Fear, in this state, is revealed as an illusion of separation from the divine source. In Gnostic teachings, silence is the space where one communes directly with the truth of existence. It bypasses the intellect and the distractions of the material world, allowing the soul to connect with its true essence. The Gnostics believed that the material world, governed by the demiurge, is filled with distractions designed to keep the soul from realizing its divine nature. Silence, therefore, becomes a powerful tool for breaking free from these distractions and awakening to the soul's eternal truth. In the vast tapestry of human experience, fear often emerges as a powerful force that can imprison souls in ignorance and inertia. Many spiritual traditions recognize fear as a tool wielded by the lower aspects of existence, designed to keep us from accessing our divine potential. The ancients taught that through silence and introspection, one could reclaim their sovereignty, breaking free from the chains that bind them to a materialistic worldview. Silence, in this context, is not merely the absence of sound, it is a profound act of rebellion against the incessant noise of everyday life. By retreating into stillness, the soul reconnects with its divine origins, tapping into the pleroma, the fullness of the divine. This reconnection allows fear to dissipate, as the soul rises above the tumult of the lower realms and embraces a higher knowledge. In this sacred space, the awareness of fear as a transient distraction becomes apparent. The Hermetic tradition emphasizes this transformative power of silence. According to the famous Hermetic axiom, the lips of wisdom are closed, except to the ears of understanding. This saying encapsulates the belief that true wisdom arises not from the loud declarations of the ego but from a quiet, inward journey. It is in this sacred silence that the soul can listen to the subtle whispers of the cosmos, discerning the deeper truths hidden beneath the chaos of existence. Hermetic silence involves a deliberate stilling of the mind, emotions, and desires, allowing the higher will of the divine to guide us. In this tranquil state, fear loses its potency, as the practitioner gains the strength to navigate the world with purpose and calm. To conquer fear through silence, one must cultivate the art of stillness, which can be challenging in a world dominated by noise and constant activity. Yet, this practice does not necessitate complete isolation, rather, it involves fostering an inner sanctuary of peace amid external turbulence. Begin by dedicating time each day to sit in silence. Allow your mind to settle, observing thoughts as they arise without judgment or attachment. Instead of engaging with them or trying to suppress them, let them drift by like clouds in the sky. In this practice, you will discover a profound stillness beneath the surface of your thoughts, a space untouched by the chaos of the mind. In this realm of calm, fear cannot reside, for it is merely a product of mental distractions, not a reflection of the soul's true reality. A powerful exercise to deepen your experience of silence involves focusing on your breath. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and take a deep breath, feeling it fill your body. Exhale slowly, releasing any tension or restlessness. As you breathe, direct your attention to the sound of your breath, allowing it to guide you into a state of relaxation. With each exhale, imagine letting go of any fears or worries, feeling them dissipate into the silence surrounding you. Inhale, drawing in the peace and strength of the divine. As you continue this practice, allow the silent spaces between breaths to expand, and in these moments of stillness, you will uncover a deeper strength capable of dissolving fear. As you cultivate this stillness, fear will gradually lose its grip on you. In moments of silence, the soul recalls its divine origins, connecting with the eternal wisdom that transcends the noise of the material world. When the mind quiets, the soul rises above the illusions of fear, and the divine presence within becomes apparent. In this state, fears that once seemed overwhelming take on the appearance of shadows cast by a restless mind. They are fleeting, ephemeral, and easily dispelled by the gentle breeze of conscious awareness. The more you practice silence, the more these shadows fade, revealing the radiant light of your true self, free from fear, doubt, and aligned with the infinite power of the cosmos. Silence transforms into an active tool for conquering fear, allowing you to transcend the incessant chatter of the mind and reconnect with deeper truths about your existence. In the stillness of the soul, fear cannot survive. It feeds on the distractions and illusions created by the ego. When you cultivate inner silence, you uncover the truth. Fear is nothing more than a fleeting shadow, and you are far more powerful than you ever realized. In the quietude of your being, you discover the strength to face any challenge, the clarity to navigate uncertainty, and the courage to live fully, liberated from the confines of fear. This leads us to another critical aspect of overcoming fear, the cultivation of willpower. In ancient mystical traditions, willpower transcends mere personal discipline. It serves as the binding force between the soul and the cosmic will. This aligned will is essential for shaping reality and overcoming fear. Often, fear arises from a fragmented or weakened will, leaving individuals vulnerable to distraction and confusion. Fear, when viewed through the lens of Gnosticism, Hermeticism, and the occult, is seen as a force that dissipates and confuses the power of will. However, when willpower aligns with higher spiritual truths, fear transforms into a mere illusion, something that can be dispelled by the steady, directed force of intention. Mastering this force allows individuals not only to conquer fear but also to command their lives in accordance with a greater cosmic plan. The Hermetic tradition describes will as the bridge between the divine and the material world. The first Hermetic principle, mentalism, asserts that all is mind, indicating that creation begins with thought. Yet, thought alone cannot manifest reality. It requires the active force of will to bring ideas into tangible form. The mind may conceive an idea, but it is will that energizes and directs it toward manifestation. From this perspective, fear acts as a mental blockage that hinders the flow of will, preventing the soul from acting upon its true intentions. When the will is clear and strong, fear cannot take root in the psyche because there is no fragmentation or doubt to fuel it. In this way, willpower becomes the key to dispelling the illusions created by fear. In Gnostic teachings, the will is viewed as the driving force behind spiritual ascent. The Gnostics believe that the soul's journey is one of liberation from the false rulers of the material world, often symbolized by the archons. Much like fear, these archons exert control over the soul through ignorance and distraction, binding it to lower desires and preventing it from realizing its divine potential. To follow the Gnostic path, the will must be sharpened, focused, and aligned with the higher knowledge of the soul's true origins. As the will grows stronger, it breaks the chains of fear that once held the soul captive, opening the door to a more profound spiritual awakening and the realization of one's true purpose in the grand cosmic tapestry. In summary, silence and willpower emerge as transformative forces in the spiritual journey, empowering the individual to overcome fear and reclaim their divine heritage. Through the cultivation of inner stillness and the alignment of will with higher truths, one can rise above the distractions of the material realm and embrace their authentic self, radiant, fearless, and aligned with the infinite cosmos. In the intricate web of existence, fear often serves as a formidable adversary, wielded by unseen forces that seek to maintain control over our souls. This phenomenon is especially true in the context of the archons, symbolic representations of the lower aspects of reality that keep us ensnared in ignorance and disempowerment. Yet, within each of us lies a powerful force, willpower. When we remember our divine connection and harness this inner strength, we can reclaim our sovereignty over the material world, freeing ourselves from the illusions that fear perpetuates. The Rosicrucian teachings add another layer to our understanding of willpower. For them, willpower is not merely a tool for personal mastery but also a conduit for spiritual service. They believe that the highest use of one's will is to align it with divine purpose, transforming the individual into an instrument for higher endeavors. Fear often surfaces when the will is misaligned, serving ego-driven desires instead of the greater cosmic plan. By surrendering personal desires to a higher cause and focusing the will on that which resonates spiritually, fear's grip weakens. According to the Rosicrucians, when one's will unifies with divine purpose, it becomes invincible, rendering fear irrelevant. This synthesis of personal and divine will paves the way to true mastery, where fear cannot disturb the profound sense of alignment with the cosmos. To begin harnessing the power of will, start by focusing on small, achievable tasks. This serves as a training ground, akin to strengthening a muscle before it can lift heavier weights. Setting intentions aligned with your higher self is crucial. Each day, commit to this intention with unwavering concentration. When fear or doubt arises, do not engage. Instead, return your focus to your goal, reaffirming your will. Through this consistent practice, you will notice that fear's distractions begin to diminish in power. Your will becomes refined, capable of cutting through uncertainty. As you cultivate this daily practice, your ability to confront larger fears with calm determination will grow. A powerful ritual for aligning the will and dispelling fear is the ancient visualization of the pentagram. This symbol, revered in many occult traditions, embodies mastery of the spirit over material elements. During this ritual, visualize a radiant pentagram before you. As you inhale, imagine drawing in strength and willpower from the cosmos. As you exhale, envision fears and doubts leaving your body, consumed by the light of the pentagram. With each breath, your will strengthens, and fear diminishes. In the final stages of the ritual, see the pentagram expand, encircling you in its protective light. Within this sphere of your will, fear cannot penetrate. you become shielded, empowered, and harmonized with the universe's forces. Practicing this ritual consistently builds an unshakable sense of inner strength rooted in willpower. As your will strengthens, you will notice a shift in how you respond to fear and how you interact with the world. The ability to harness your will opens doors to greater freedom. No longer constrained by fear's limitations, you become more decisive, focused, and capable of manifesting desires without hesitation. The world itself begins to align with your intentions, responding to the force of your will in subtle yet profound ways. This is the secret power of will, known to ancient mystics. It conquers fear and transforms reality, bending the fabric of the cosmos to your purpose. Through willpower, you reclaim your rightful place as a co-creator with the divine, shaping your life and destiny with intention and precision. The cultivation of mystical willpower is paramount in overcoming fear, as it aligns individuals with the greater currents of cosmic order. Fear thrives on fragmentation, the disconnection between thought, emotion, and action. However, when willpower is honed and focused, it unites these forces, creating a potent current that fear cannot withstand. Whether through Hermetic, Gnostic, or Rosicrucian practices, developing willpower is essential for transcending the limitations imposed by fear. As your will strengthens, you rise above these illusions, navigating life with clarity, purpose, and divine authority. This mastery of will positions you as the architect of your fate, liberated from the chains of fear that once confined you. In this transformative journey, archetypes play a significant role. They serve as ancient, universal patterns that offer insights into our subconscious minds, revealing the deep-seated dynamics of our experiences. In the labyrinth of the soul, where fear and courage engage in a delicate dance, archetypes act as guiding figures. They emerge from the collective unconscious, shaping our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Understanding these archetypes provides a pathway to transcend fear and embrace personal mastery. Among them, the archetype of the shadow stands out in its profound relationship to fear. Originally introduced by Carl Jung, the concept of the shadow is deeply rooted in esoteric traditions. It represents the hidden or suppressed aspects of our psyche, our darker impulses, unresolved traumas, and the fears we have yet to confront. In Gnostic terms, the shadow is akin to the archons, dark forces that keep us trapped in ignorance. When we avoid or deny the shadow, we relinquish our power to it. Fear flourishes in the unexamined corners of our psyche, thriving on the parts we refuse to acknowledge. To conquer fear, one must engage in the arduous work of integrating the shadow. Only by bringing these hidden aspects into the light can we dissolve their grip on our lives. In esoteric traditions, the hero archetype also plays a crucial role in overcoming fear. The hero symbolizes the aspect of the self that embarks on a transformative journey, facing trials, challenges, and adversaries. This journey, often referred to as the hero's journey, represents an inner quest to overcome fear and ignorance. The hero must descend into the unknown, confront the shadow, and emerge with a deeper understanding of the self. The hero archetype teaches us that fear is not to be avoided but confronted and transcended. Each challenge-provoking fear becomes an opportunity for growth. In this ongoing process of self-discovery, we learn that the dance between fear and courage is not a battle to be won but a journey to be embraced. By recognizing and integrating the archetypes within us, we unlock the hidden wisdom they offer, empowering ourselves to transcend fear and embody our true essence. The path to mastery lies not in evading fear but in confronting it with the courage of the hero, fortified by the power of will. As we continue this journey, we find that the archons lose their hold, and we reclaim our sovereignty, stepping into a life of purpose and profound connection with the divine. Through understanding, integration, and the focused application of willpower, we transform our relationship with fear, ultimately becoming the co-creators of our reality. The true essence of personal mastery is recognizing that fear is not an obstacle but a catalyst for transformation. In embracing this perspective, we awaken to our potential, realizing that we are more than the fears that seek to limit us. In this dynamic interplay of will, archetypes, and fear, we discover the essence of our existence, empowering us to navigate life's labyrinth with courage, clarity, and a renewed sense of purpose. We reclaim our divine heritage, shaping our destiny in alignment with the cosmic order that guides us toward enlightenment. Within the complex tapestry of human experience, fear often emerges as a significant hurdle. However, by embracing the various archetypes within us, we can transform our perspective, viewing fear not as an insurmountable barrier but as an initiation into deeper consciousness and empowerment. The hero archetype serves as a potent reminder of the strength that lies within us, inviting us to confront our fears with resolve and courage. Yet, there is another powerful archetype to consider: the warrior. This figure transcends mere physical prowess or combat prowess. It embodies the internal force of will that remains steadfast in the face of adversity. In both ancient and mystical traditions, the warrior is synonymous with spiritual discipline and inner resilience. From the warrior's viewpoint, fear becomes a test, a challenge to our inner strength. Rather than retreating from fear, the warrior confronts it with clarity and determination, understanding that every encounter with fear refines and sharpens the soul. To truly embody the warrior archetype means standing firm, not just in external battles but also in the internal skirmishes that fear provokes within us. The wisdom of this archetype teaches us that genuine mastery is achieved through courageous engagement with our fears, allowing them to serve as fuel for transformation rather than as hindrances. In tandem with the warrior, the sage archetype provides another profound approach to fear. This figure represents our quest for knowledge, understanding, and enlightenment. In Gnostic thought, the sage is the seeker of direct, experiential knowledge of the divine, which dispels the fog of fear and ignorance. Often, fear arises from the unknown or from our lack of understanding. The sage encourages us to confront fear with curiosity and an open heart. Instead of reacting to fear with panic, the sage examines it calmly, pondering, What can this fear teach me? Through the sage's wisdom, we come to realize that fear is frequently an illusion, a veil that obscures deeper truths. When these truths are revealed, they lead to liberation from the shackles of fear. Integrating these archetypes into our conscious awareness offers a powerful method for transforming fear. Each archetype provides a unique lens through which we can understand and respond to our fears. The shadow invites us to confront repressed emotions. The hero encourages us to see challenges as opportunities for growth. The warrior instills the strength needed to stand firm against adversity, and the sage imparts the wisdom necessary to navigate fear with understanding. By recognizing and embodying these archetypes, we access a reservoir of inner resources that empowers us to confront and transcend fear. The key to this integration lies in self-awareness, acknowledging which archetype is at play within us at any moment and consciously choosing to draw upon its strengths. To begin this journey of archetypal integration, one must first engage in self-inquiry and reflection. This process can take the form of journaling or meditation, allowing us to explore the fears that frequently arise in our lives and to discern which archetype may hold the key to addressing them. For instance, if your fears stem from unresolved trauma or suppressed emotions, it is likely that the shadow archetype is at play, signaling a need for deeper healing and self-acceptance. Conversely, if you find yourself facing a significant challenge or life transition, the hero archetype may beckon you to step into the unknown with courage and faith. In moments of confrontation or adversity, the warrior can serve as your guide, helping you to stand tall and remain centered. During times of doubt or confusion, the sage can offer the wisdom needed to pierce the illusions of fear. A vital practice for integrating these archetypes involves engaging in shadow work. This process requires us to consciously explore the aspects of ourselves that we fear or reject, bringing them into the light of awareness. Start by identifying a specific fear or limiting belief that holds you back. Ask yourself what deeper unresolved emotion or experience may be feeding this fear. Through meditation or journaling, visualize confronting this fear as a shadow figure. Engage with this figure, asking it what it wants to teach you and offering compassion and understanding. This process allows you to reclaim parts of yourself that have been disowned, effectively reducing fear's power over you. The esoteric exploration of archetypes provides profound insights into the nature of fear and the means to transcend it. By working with archetypes such as the shadow, hero, warrior, and sage, we gain access to inner wisdom and strength that enable us to face our fears with clarity and courage. These archetypes are not external figures, they are facets of our own consciousness waiting to be activated and integrated. When we actively engage with these archetypes, we can shift our perception of fear from a paralyzing force to a catalyst for personal and spiritual growth. The journey to mastering fear ultimately becomes a journey of self-discovery, where each confrontation with fear draws us closer to realizing our true potential. Through this ongoing process, we not only conquer fear but also unlock the deeper wisdom and power that resides within us. The esoteric understanding of courage is equally illuminating. courage is not merely the absence of fear, but rather the mastery of it. Within the depths of esoteric thought, courage is esteemed as one of the most vital virtues along the spiritual path. In mystical traditions, such as those practiced by the Gnostics, Hermeticists, and Rosicrucians, courage is viewed not just as an essential quality for spiritual advancement, but as a force that bridges the mundane with the divine. Courage emerges from the heart, connecting us to our higher selves and the universal will. From this perspective, courage is not merely a reaction to danger or adversity, it is the conscious choice to tread the path of light, even when darkness appears insurmountable. In the teachings of ancient wisdom traditions, courage is intimately linked with the concept of spiritual initiation. Those who step into the mysteries must traverse the veil of fear to access higher knowledge. The fear that surfaces during this process is not merely personal, it signifies the elusive barriers erected by the lower mind, often reinforced by forces of ignorance, referred to by the Gnostics as archons. To transcend these limitations requires immense courage, as it involves confronting both the external challenges of life and the inner demons of doubt, insecurity, and despair. In this light, courage transforms into an act of inner alchemy, transmuting fear into wisdom and strength, a process essential for all who seek enlightenment. The heart, as understood in many esoteric traditions, is the center of courage. It is more than a mere physical organ, it is a spiritual gateway through which divine energy flows. In Hermeticism and Rosicrucianism, the heart chakra serves as a focal point for this energetic exchange, enabling us to draw upon the courage necessary to confront our fears and transcend the limitations they impose. In embracing the archetypes of the hero, warrior, sage, and shadow, we embark on a transformative journey, one that fosters self-discovery and spiritual growth. Each confrontation with fear paves the way toward understanding and wisdom, ultimately leading us to the realization of our true potential. As we master fear, we reclaim the power to shape our destinies, transforming obstacles into stepping stones along our path to enlightenment. The journey of courage is not merely about overcoming, it is about becoming the truest, most authentic versions of ourselves. At the heart of spiritual evolution lies a profound truth. The center of love and courage serves as the foundation of our soul's strength. When we connect deeply to our hearts, fear begins to lose its grip on us. This is because the energy emanating from the heart is expansive, while fear is inherently contractive. In this interplay, the courage cultivated from the heart allows individuals to transcend the limitations of the ego and the illusions of separateness. It is through the heart that we discover our inherent connection to the infinite, empowering us to face challenges with an unwavering sense of peace and resilience. True courage, as understood in esoteric philosophy, transcends mere brute strength or dominance over others. Instead, it manifests as maintaining inner harmony amid external chaos. It is the ability to remain steadfast in one's inner truth, even when the external world feels overwhelming. This notion of courage aligns beautifully with the Gnostic pursuit of gnosis, direct, experiential knowledge of the divine. The Gnostics taught that courage is essential for those seeking self-discovery and divine connection, as the path is often riddled with deep-seated fears, delusions, and false realities. The journey to uncover the divine spark within us is not for the faint-hearted. Courage serves as the driving force that propels the seeker forward, helping them refuse to be held back by the distractions and deceptions of the material world. To cultivate esoteric courage, one must first recognize fear as an illusion, a shadow cast by the mind attempting to protect itself from the unknown. In mystical traditions, the unknown is often where transformation occurs, and therefore, fear must be met with the open-hearted bravery of those who trust in the greater purpose of their spiritual journey. One powerful practice for developing courage involves meditation on the heart chakra. Visualizing this energy center as a radiant golden sphere, practitioners can engage in deep breathing, imagining this golden light expanding to fill their entire being with warmth and strength. As this light grows, individuals can feel the energy of courage flooding their systems, dissolving fear and replacing it with confidence and clarity. This simple meditation can be practiced daily to reinforce the connection to the heart and its inherent courage. Facing fear directly, acknowledging it without judgment, is another effective way to cultivate courage. When met with compassion and understanding, fear often reveals itself to be far less daunting than it initially appears. In esoteric traditions, invoking sacred symbols or mantras that embody courage and strength can also be powerful. For instance, in the Hermetic tradition, the lion symbolizes the solar force of courage and the power of will. Meditating on this image or invoking its energy through visualization or ritual can help anchor one's willpower and courage in moments of uncertainty. Ultimately, courage is not a final destination but a continual practice. It is the ongoing choice to align oneself with the highest aspects of being, even when faced with the lowest. Esoterically, courage is seen as the key to unlocking the mysteries of the soul. Without it, progress on the spiritual path is nearly impossible. In Rosicrucian teachings, the greatest initiates are those who have traversed their darkest fears and emerged with the light of understanding. This illumination is not the absence of fear, but rather the realization that fear is merely a veil, a temporary shadow that obscures the eternal truth of the soul's power and divinity. In esoteric terms, courage is not just an emotional state. It is a profound spiritual force that arises from the heart and aligns us with our higher purpose. This alignment allows us to transcend the limitations imposed by fear and doubt. The teachings of the Gnostics, Hermeticists, and Rosicrucians emphasize that cultivating courage is essential for those on the path to enlightenment. By facing our fears, we transform them into fuel for our spiritual ascent. Through meditation, visualization, and inner work, we can access the wellspring of courage within us, enabling us to walk the path of the soul with strength, grace, and unwavering determination. Additionally, rituals play a pivotal role in banishing fear and mastering our inner landscape. Rituals, in their deepest essence, are sacred acts that bridge the visible and invisible worlds. In various esoteric traditions, such as Hermeticism and Rosicrucianism, rituals serve as tools to access deeper layers of consciousness, allowing practitioners to channel divine energies and instigate change within both their internal and external realms. When addressing fear, rituals offer a powerful means of transforming fear into courage, breaking free from limiting beliefs, and asserting dominion over the subconscious forces that bind us in anxiety and doubt. A well-structured ritual can dissolve fear's grip, creating a shift in the very fabric of one's being. To grasp the power of rituals in dispelling fear, we must first recognize that fear operates on multiple levels of existence. It is not merely a mental construct, it infiltrates our emotional bodies, lodges itself within our energetic fields, and often manifests as physical tension or discomfort. In occult traditions, fear is perceived as a dense, low-frequency vibration that disrupts the natural harmony of the self. This disharmony not only blocks spiritual progress but also hinders our ability to manifest our highest potential. Rituals are designed to restore balance by clearing these dense energies, opening pathways for higher, more refined energies to flow through us. The first step in any ritual aimed at banishing fear is the creation of sacred space. Sacred space transcends mere physicality. It is an energetic environment conducive to spiritual work. Traditionally, sacred space is consecrated through symbols, elements, and invocations. For example, in Hermeticism, the pentagram is often used to invoke protection and dispel negative energies. In Rosicrucian rituals, the rose and the cross symbolize the union of spirit and matter, creating a harmonious field in which transformation can take place. To initiate this process, begin by clearing your space of distractions, lighting candles and incense, and mentally visualizing a protective circle surrounding you. This circle serves as a boundary between the mundane world and the spiritual realms, permitting only energies aligned with your intention to enter. Once the sacred space is established, the next phase involves the invocation of higher forces. In esoteric rituals, invocations are calls to divine or cosmic energies that assist in banishing fear. These energies can be personified, inviting specific archetypal figures into the sacred space. This invocation not only enhances the potency of the ritual but also creates a supportive environment for the transformation of fear into courage. As we navigate our spiritual journeys, it becomes increasingly clear that love and courage are fundamental components of our inner strength. By connecting with these energies and engaging in practices that foster their growth, we can transcend fear and embrace the fullness of our potential. In doing so, we unlock the door to our true nature and align ourselves with the divine essence that resides within us, allowing us to live lives marked by authenticity, grace, and unwavering courage. In the intricate dance of spiritual evolution, the invocation of divine forces, angelic beings, or archetypal energies serves as a vital component in banishing fear. These archetypes, rich with symbolism and power, provide a pathway to harness energies greater than ourselves. A notable figure to call upon in such moments is Archangel Michael, who embodies the sword of truth and protection across various mystical traditions. His essence radiates strength and clarity, adept at cutting through the illusions that cloud our perception. When seeking to dispel fear, invoking his presence can be a transformative experience. Alternatively, practitioners steeped in Hermeticism might invoke the sun, symbolizing light, life, and courage through deities such as Ra from ancient Egypt or Apollo from Roman mythology. Whether these invocations are vocalized or held silently within, they align the practitioner with forces that can provide the energetic support necessary to confront and dissolve fear. The crux of this ritualistic approach is the act of banishment itself, wherein rituals work to expel the energies of fear from the mind, body, and spirit, purging them from one's energy field. In Hermetic and ceremonial magic traditions, the employment of sacred words, symbols, and gestures is indispensable. One of the most recognized banishing rituals is the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, LBPR. This involves the practitioner drawing a pentagram in the air while invoking divine names at each cardinal point. The ritual is meticulously designed to cleanse the aura and environment, crafting a protective shield that repels lower energies. As you draw the pentagram, it's vital to visualize it blazing with light, radiating strength and courage, while any lingering fears dissipate into oblivion. Beyond traditional banishing rituals, visualization and affirmation play crucial roles in the transformation of fear. Visualization involves the art of crafting mental imagery that influences the subconscious mind, while affirmations serve as powerful statements that help reprogram limiting belief systems. For example, one might visualize themselves enveloped in a brilliant sphere of protective light. As they breathe in, they draw on courage and strength. As they exhale, they release all fear and doubt. Repeating affirmations such as "I am fearless," "I control my reality," or "I am aligned with divine protection" can profoundly alter one's subconscious patterns. When spoken with conviction, these affirmations work to dismantle the entrenched habits of fear. The concluding phase of any ritual involves closing the sacred space and grounding the energies raised during the practice. This step is crucial, for after engaging with such potent forces, it is essential to return to an ordinary state of consciousness with clarity and balance. Grounding is often achieved by expressing gratitude to the invoked forces and visualizing excess energy flowing into the earth, where it can be absorbed and neutralized. This grounding ensures the energies released during the ritual are effectively integrated, leaving the practitioner feeling centered, empowered, and free from fear. Rituals provide a profound and structured method for confronting fear, drawing from ancient wisdom and practices that have endured through the ages. By creating sacred spaces, invoking higher forces, and employing potent symbols and gestures, individuals can alter their internal landscapes. The energies of fear can be expelled, replaced with courage, strength, and clarity. Regular practice of these rituals enables individuals to assert control over their fears and ultimately their destinies, walking the path of spiritual mastery with confidence and grace. The ultimate aspiration of all spiritual practices is to achieve freedom, freedom from fear, from the illusions of the ego, and from the limitations imposed by the material world. In the mystical traditions of Gnosticism, Rosicrucianism, and Hermeticism, this freedom is not a passive state, rather, it embodies an active, conscious liberation of the soul. It represents the awakening to one's true nature as a divine being, unshackled by the illusions that tether most of humanity to fear and ignorance. Living without fear means existing in alignment with divine will, fully cognizant of the infinite potential within. Fearlessness, in this context, does not imply the absence of caution or discernment. Instead, it reflects a transcendent realization that the true essence of who you are cannot be harmed. To embrace a life devoid of fear, one must first recognize fear as a form of bondage. In Gnostic teachings, fear is frequently linked to the demiurge, a false god that creates a world steeped in deception and ignorance. This figure embodies the material forces that ensnare the soul in cycles of fear and attachment, preventing it from acknowledging its divine origins. The Gnostic journey involves peeling back the layers of this illusion, understanding that fears emerging from the material world are part of a grand deception. Fears surrounding death, failure, and the unknown are constructs of a false reality, chains forged by the ego to maintain its control over the soul and hinder its ascension to higher realms of consciousness. To transcend fear, one must confront the ego directly, as it thrives on fear by defining itself through separation from others, from the divine, and from the boundless possibilities of existence. The ego fosters an identity rooted in limitations, persuading you that you are small and fragile, in perpetual need of protection. Fear, in this context, becomes the ego's weapon, a tool wielded to keep you in a state of contraction. However, as you begin to recognize the illusions crafted by the ego, the power of fear diminishes. You start to understand that fear is not an intrinsic aspect of your being but a shadow cast by distorted perceptions of the ego. True freedom arises from dissolving this false sense of self and embracing the vast, boundless nature of the soul. Living without fear necessitates an ongoing practice of mindfulness and spiritual alignment. It is not a static state that can be attained once and for all, rather, it is a path to be traversed daily. Each moment offers a choice between fear and love, contraction and expansion. The practices outlined, rituals, meditations, and affirmations, serve as tools to help maintain alignment with your highest self, even in the face of fear. When fear arises, instead of reacting from a place of panic or avoidance, you can meet it with calm awareness, understanding that it merely reflects the ego's projections. As you walk this path of spiritual mastery, you discover that the alchemical transformation of fear into courage is not just possible, it is your birthright. By engaging with these practices, you can embrace your true nature and experience the profound freedom that arises from living in alignment with love and courage. The desire for control often manifests as a fear-driven habit that can cloud judgment and limit potential. However, through consistent spiritual practice, This habit can be replaced with a profound inner peace grounded in the understanding of one's eternal, infinite nature. As you progress on the journey of spiritual mastery, you will realize that letting go of fear opens the floodgates to manifesting your true desires. Fear stands as one of the most significant barriers to effective manifestation. It obscures clarity of thought and scatters the vital energies required to turn intentions into reality. When fear is dispelled, the mind becomes focused, allowing the soul's energies to flow unimpeded toward your aspirations. This is the essence of fearless manifestation, the ability to create without doubt, hesitation, or attachment to outcomes. It is the profound recognition that you are a co-creator with the divine, equipped with the power to shape your reality in harmony with the universal will. Embarking on the path to freedom necessitates a journey toward fearlessness, a movement toward realizing your divine nature. By overcoming the illusions perpetuated by fear, you unlock the door to a life filled with limitless potential, where the constraints of the material world cease to hold sway over you. The teachings and practices outlined in this book serve as your guide, assisting you in breaking free from the chains of fear and stepping boldly into your authentic power. As you integrate these teachings into your daily life, you will discover that fear loses its grip, paving the way for a deep-seated sense of peace and empowerment. This profound shift represents the essence of spiritual knowledge, the secret wisdom that liberates the soul from all forms of bondage, allowing it to soar freely into the infinite expanse of existence. As you reflect on your journey thus far, consider the transformative steps you have taken. You have learned to confront your fears, transmute them into wisdom, and reclaim your power as a sovereign being. You have traversed the corridors of ancient wisdom, unveiling the mysteries of the soul. This journey is not an endpoint, rather, it is just the beginning. The path of mastery is an eternal one, a continuous unfolding of deeper layers of truth. Moving forward, carry with you the understanding that fear has no rightful place in your heart. You are a being of light, a creator of worlds, and nothing can obstruct your divine purpose. Embrace your freedom and live fearlessly, illuminated by the essence of your true self. As we approach the conclusion of this exploration, if you've been enjoying this journey, I invite you to share your thoughts. What has resonated most deeply with you? Engaging with mastery and the infinite path entails embracing the lifelong quest of mastering fear, transmuting limiting beliefs, and reclaiming one's power. Through the wisdom of the ancients, the hidden teachings of the Gnostics, the alchemical processes of the Rosicrucians, and the sacred principles of Hermeticism, you have delved into the depths of your soul, awakening a truth that transcends mundane reality. You have begun to perceive fear not as an enemy, but as a guide, an initiator leading you to higher states of consciousness, drawing you ever closer to your divine essence. Throughout the pages of this text, you have peeled back the layers of deception that once bound you to limiting beliefs and fears. These illusions, meticulously crafted by the ego and reinforced by societal conditioning, have concealed the radiant truth of your being. Standing now at the threshold of a new horizon, you recognize that these limitations no longer serve your highest good. The tools you have gathered, rituals, meditations, and inner exercises, are not merely practices, they are keys to unlocking the doors of personal sovereignty. With each chapter, you have fortified your inner will, sharpened your mind, and aligned your soul with its highest calling. Fear, once a shadow lurking in the corners of your awareness, has been transformed into a wellspring of strength, guiding you toward true mastery. As you weave this sacred knowledge into the fabric of your life, understand that mastery is not a destination but an ongoing journey of perpetual unfolding. The ancients recognized that the path of initiation and spiritual growth forms a cyclical, ever-expanding spiral that leads the seeker deeper into the mysteries of existence. To conquer fear is not merely to overcome personal anxieties, it is to transcend the very concept of fear itself. With each step on this path, you will come to understand that fear arises from a sense of separation, from perceiving yourself as disconnected from the divine source, from others, and from your true purpose. Now, you know there is no separation. The spark of the divine resides within you, awaiting full realization in every thought, action, and moment. The esoteric traditions we have explored together teach that the universe reflects the mind, and thus mastery begins within. Each fear you confront becomes an opportunity to harmonize your inner world with the outer cosmos. As you dissolve the illusions that bind you to fear, you align with the greater laws of the universe, laws that operate in harmony, balance, and infinite potential. Mastering fear means no longer reacting to life. Instead, you consciously create it. This essence of self-mastery embodies the art of living as a co-creator with the divine. You shape your reality not through force, but through alignment, recognizing that the universe responds to your thoughts, intentions, and inner clarity. As you step forward into your life, remember that the teachings you have absorbed are not abstract concepts, they are living wisdom meant for practical application. Each moment presents a choice, to succumb to fear and limitation or to rise above, invoking the knowledge of your true power. This choice, made consistently over time, cultivates a new reality, one in which you no longer live as a victim of circumstance, but as a master of your destiny. The sacred rituals and meditations you have learned serve as tools to continually realign you with your highest self, allowing you to maintain your center even in the face of challenges. Fear may still emerge, but now you understand its purpose and possess the power to transform it. Mastery is not a solitary endeavor, it is a continual process of growth, learning, and expansion, fostering a deeper connection with the world around you and the universal consciousness that flows through all things. The journey you have embarked upon is both deeply personal and profoundly universal. As you rise into your power, you uplift others as well, for mastery radiates outward, transforming not just your life, but the lives of those around you. In this interconnected dance of existence, as you claim your sovereignty, you inspire others to do the same, fostering a ripple effect of empowerment that transcends individual limitations. In essence, the path of mastery is not just about overcoming fear, but about awakening to the truth of who you are, a divine being capable of manifesting dreams and co-creating with the universe. As you embrace this truth, you become a beacon of light, guiding yourself and others toward a reality where fear holds no dominion. The journey toward mastery over fear is a profound and transformative experience, rooted in the understanding of our eternal nature. By engaging in consistent spiritual practices, one can shift from a state of fear to one of inner peace. This transition is essential for realizing our true desires, as fear often clouds our judgment and scatters our energy, hindering manifestation. Fearlessness in manifestation means creating without doubt or hesitation, fully aware that we are co-creators with the divine. This awareness opens doors to limitless potential, allowing us to transcend the limitations imposed by the material world. As we let go of fear, we align ourselves with the universal flow, manifesting our intentions with clarity and purpose. The tools for this transformation, rituals, meditations, and affirmations, act as keys to personal sovereignty. Each practice strengthens our resolve and helps us recognize that fear is not an enemy but an opportunity for growth. As we embrace this truth, we learn to see fear as a guide, leading us toward higher states of consciousness. Mastery is an ongoing journey, not a destination. It requires us to continually confront the illusions that separate us from our divine nature. With each step, we dissolve these barriers, realizing the interconnectedness of all beings. By mastering fear, we reclaim our power and live as conscious creators of our reality. As you move forward on this path, remember that every moment offers a choice, to succumb to fear or to rise above it. Embracing your true power not only transforms your life, but also inspires others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of empowerment that can change the world. Copyright 2024 by Audiobooks Tube. Thank you for listening. Please consider to subscribe, like, and share to help the channel grow new videos on a daily basis.